Hello everybody, welcome to Edinguru. I am Professor Suman Prakash. I hope all of you must have learned the chapter and the concepts well. Now it's time to check how prepared we are for our JEE entrance exam. We will solve question in this session and the question will reflect on your screen. Try to keep solving with me. The difficulty level of the questions as easy, moderate and difficult will be indicated to you by different colors. So let's start solving the questions. And first we will take questions from our first chapter, which is some basic principles of chemistry, in which mostly we will take questions from mole concept and stoichiometry. So let's start solving the question, and your first question is 1 mole of a mixture of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide requires exactly 20 grams of NaOH to convert all the CO2 into Na2CO3. How many more grams of NaOH would it require for conversion into Na2CO3 if the mixture is completely oxidized to CO2? And your options are A 60 gram, B 80 gram, C 40 gram and D 20 gram. Now let us see how we solve this question. We have 1 mole of mixture which contains both carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, and it required 20 grams of NaOH, that is 20 upon 40, that is 0.5 moles of NaOH. And what NaOH will do? NaOH will convert carbon dioxide to Na2CO3. It will not react with carbon monoxide. Therefore, this plus CO2 will give Na2CO3. It is very obvious that moles of carbon dioxide is half the number of moles of NaOH. That can be understood very easily. That is, 1 mole of Na2CO3 contains 2 atoms of sodium, while it contains only 1 atom of carbon. Therefore, moles of CO2 in the mixture is 0.25. Hence, moles of carbon monoxide in the mixture is how much? 0.75 moles. Now, what the question say? The question says that 1 mole of the mixture is completely oxidized and converted to carbon dioxide. So finally I will have CO getting converted to CO2, and since we have 0.75 0.75 moles of carbon monoxide, we will have 0.75 moles of carbon dioxide also, and therefore moles of NaOH required rather additional moles of NaOH required will be 1.5 moles, and therefore additional mass of NaOH required is equal to 1.5 into 40 grams, which comes out to be 60 gram, and therefore your answer is option A. Now come to the next question. In a reaction, FeS2 plus MnO4 plus H plus giving Fe3 positive plus SO2 plus Mn2 positive plus H2O. The equivalent mass of FeS2 would be equal to A. molar mass, B. molar mass by 10, C. molar mass by 11, and D. molar mass by 13. Now see how we solve this question. In this question, MnO4 minus is the oxidizing agent and it is oxidizing FeS2. Now you need to understand, in FeS2, iron is in +2 oxidation state and sulfur is in -1 oxidation state. While after reaction, iron is getting converted to Fe3 positive and sulfur is getting converted to SO2. On right hand side, oxidation state of sulfur is +4. So let us try to find out what is the N factor of FeS2. Now, from Fe2 positive to Fe3 positive, this will happen by loss of 1 electron. On the other hand, sulfur from -1 to +4 is -5 electrons. And since there are 2 sulfur atoms, therefore N factor for Fe2 positive is 1 and N factor for S22 minus will be 5 into 2, that is 10. Or we can say from 1 mole of FeS2, total of 11 moles of electron is lost when it is converted to Fe3 positive and SO2. And therefore, as we know, equivalent mass is equal to molar mass upon N factor, and N factor in this case is 11, and therefore we can say equivalent mass is equal to molar mass by 11. That is, correct answer is option C. Your next question is, to prepare a solution that is 0.5 molar of KCl starting with 100 ml of 0.4 molar HCl, which of the following action is required? And options are: A, add 0.75 gram of KCl, B, add 20 milliliter of water, C, add 0.1 mole of KCl and evaporate 10 ml of water. Now let us see how we solve this question. Initially, we have 100 milliliter of 0.4 molar KCl. That is, we have 0.1 liter of 0.4 molar KCl. In total, we have 0.04 moles of KCl. As we know, number of moles is equal to volume in liters into molarity. When the solution becomes 0.5 molar, so one thing is sure, by adding water, concentration will only decrease, it will not increase. So option B is ruled out. Option C is possible. Option A is also possible, and D can also be possible. Now, when the solution becomes 0.5 molar, number of moles of KCl will be again 0.05 moles, assuming that total volume remain constant, because in option D, if we evaporate 10 ml of water, new molarity will not be 0.5, rather it will be 0.04 upon 90 into 1000, which is 4 upon 9, which is not equal to 0.5. So option B is ruled out. Option D is also ruled out. Why I am explaining this? Because you don't need to solve at all to arrive at some of the answers. That will save your time. So see what I said. B is ruled out. Why B is ruled out? Because adding water, that is increasing volume of solution, keeping number of moles constant, is going to decrease the concentration, while in the question we are required to increase the concentration from 0.4 to 0.5 molar. Option D is also ruled out because evaporating 10 ml of water will of course increase the concentration, but the increased concentration will be how much? We know that total number of moles present is still 0.04 and the volume is 90 upon 1000 liters, which gives us the new molarity as number of moles upon volume in liter. We can very easily mentally calculate that is not going to be 0.5. We need to add how many moles? Initially we have 0.04 moles, and finally this is initial, and final moles if it becomes 0.05, it means that the concentration will become 0.5 or will increase to 0.5 from 0.4. Now C option again ruled out. How many moles we need to add it? 0.01 moles. While in option C, how many moles are added? 0.1 mole. So definitely concentration will increase manifold. So without solving, just by mental calculation, we can arrive that answer should be A. Now let us check whether it is A or not. What is molar mass of KCl? Molar mass of KCl is K is 39 and chlorine is 35.5. So it is 74.5 gram per mole, and therefore mass of 0.01 mole will be equal to 74.5 into 0.01, that is 0.745 gram. So the correct answer is option A. Your next question is, an organic compound contains 4% of sulfur. What is the minimum possible molecular mass of this organic compound? And your options are A 200, B 400, C 800 and D 16,000. Now see how we approach this question. Given that organic compound contains 4% of sulfur, 4% sulfur means 100 gram of compound contains 4 gram of sulfur, and we are supposed to calculate the minimum molecular mass. Now one molecule will contain at least one sulfur atom. Therefore, let us find the mass which contains 1 gram atom of sulfur or 1 atom of sulfur. That will give us the gram molecular mass or molecular mass, whatever you want to say. That mass of the molecule which will contain 32 U of sulfur is the molecular mass. Now 4 gram of sulfur is present in 100 gram of compound. Therefore 32 gram of sulfur, that is 1 gram atom of sulfur, will be present in 100 upon 4 into 32 gram of the compound, which comes out to be 800 grams. So we can say minimum molar mass is 800 gram per mole, and therefore molecular mass is 800 or 800 U, and therefore correct answer is option C. Now come to the next question. 0.7 gram of Na2CO3 dot XH2O were dissolved in water and the volume was made up to 100 ml. 20 ml of this solution required 19.8 milliliter of N by 10 HCl for complete neutralization. The value of X is, and your options are A 7, B 3, C 2 and D 5. Now let us see how we solve this question. We have 0.7 gram of Na2CO3 dot X H2O, and the total volume was made 100 ml. So we can say 100 ml of this solution contains 0.7 gram of Na2CO3. Now what is molar mass of Na2CO3? Molar mass of Na2CO3 is 23 gram into 2 plus 12 plus 16 into 3 plus 18x gram per mole. This comes out to be 106 plus 18x gram per mole. What is number of moles? Number of moles of Na2CO3 dot XH2O will be equal to 0.7 upon 106 plus 18x. These number of moles are present in 100 ml of solution. Therefore, number of moles of Na2CO3 dot XH2O in how many milliliters of this solution we have taken? 20 milliliter. So in 20 milliliter will be equal to 0.7 upon 106 plus 18x into 20 into 100, that is 0.7 upon 106 plus 18x into 5. So number of equivalents of Na2CO3 dot XH2O in 20 ml solution is equal to 0.7 upon 106 plus 18x into 5. These are number of moles, and number of equivalents we know is number of moles into n factor, and n factor in this case is 2. So this multiplied by 2. Now this solution is completely neutralized by 19.8 milliliter of n by 10 HCl. Now we know during complete neutralization, number of equivalents of acid and number of equivalents of base must be equal. And what is number of equivalents of acids? Is equal to 19.8 upon 1000. This is volume of solution in liters into 1 by 10. This is normality. That is, we can say 0.7 upon 106 plus 18x into 2 into 5 is equal to 19.8 upon 1000, and solving this we get x is equal to 2, and therefore answer is C. Now come to our next question. 1 liter of 0.1 molar copper sulfate solution is electrolyzed till the whole of copper is deposited at cathode. During the electrolysis, a gas is released at anode. The volume of the gas at 273 Kelvin and 1 atm pressure is, your options are A 112 milliliter, B 254 milliliter, C 1120 milliliter, and D 2240 milliliter. Now see, again this is based upon the same concept that during redox reaction, number of species oxidized and number of species reduced is equal. Now let us see which species is oxidized and which species is reduced. From the question, it is very obvious that Cu++ is reduced to copper, and we all know that reduction takes place at cathode. So this reaction has taken place at cathode. Now what has happened at anode? OH minus is oxidized to O2, and this O2 gas has evolved at anode. However, our question was not which gas was evolved. We are supposed to calculate the volume of the gas evolved at 273 Kelvin and 1 atm pressure. Now, N factor of copper in this reaction is 2, while N factor, it's very obvious, while N factor for O2, here it is in 0 oxidation state and here it is in -2 oxidation state. So when we are going to calculate N factor of O2, we will see what change has taken place and how many oxygen atoms are there in a molecule of O2. Change is 2 into 2, there are 2 oxygen atoms, so N factor is 4. Now as I told, number of equivalents of the species oxidized or number of equivalents of the species obtained as a result of reduction has to be equal to the number of equivalents of the species obtained as a result of oxidation. So let us see how many equivalent of copper is obtained as a result of reduction at cathode. We have 1 liter of 0.1 molar Cu++, that is, we have 0.1 mole of Cu++, and all the copper plus has been reduced to Cu. Therefore, we have 0.1 mole of copper obtained at cathode. Now N factor of copper is 2, so we can say we have 0.2 equivalents of copper obtained at cathode. Therefore, equivalence of O2 obtained at anode is equal to 0.2. Therefore, moles of O2 obtained at anode is equal to 0.2 upon n factor, that is 4 moles. Now, we know 1 mole of any gas at 273 Kelvin and 1 atm pressure occupies 22.4 liters. Therefore, volume of the gas obtained at 273 Kelvin and 1 atm pressure is equal to 0.2 upon 4 into 22.4 liters, or we can say 0.2 into 22.4 upon 4 into 1000 milliliter, or this will be 2 into 2 to 4 into 10 upon 4 milliliter. This will be 2112, so 1120 milliliters. So, your correct answer is option C. Your next question is, for the reaction H3PO4 plus CaOH whole twice giving CaHPO4 plus twice of H2O and 1 mole each of H3PO4 and CaOH whole twice are taken. Which of the following statement is correct? And your options are: A, equivalent weight of H3PO4 is 49. B, resulting mixture is neutralized by 1 mole of KOH. C, 1 mole of H3PO4 is completely neutralized by 1.5 moles of calcium hydroxide, and D, all of these. Now, let us see. In this question, the reaction is H3PO4 plus CaOH whole twice, and how many moles each of we have taken? We have taken 1 mole each of H3PO4 and calcium hydroxide. And what are the products obtained? Product obtained are CaHPO4 plus twice of H2O. Now, if we calculate molar mass of H3PO4, it will be 3 into 1 plus 31 plus 16 into 4, which comes out to be 98 grams per mole. Now, in this reaction, we can see 2 out of the 3 replaceable hydrogens are involved in the reaction, and therefore, for this reaction we have to take basicity of H3PO4 as 2, because basicity is equal to the number of hydrogen replaced from an acid during a reaction. And therefore, equivalent mass molecular mass upon basicity, and this is equal to 98 upon 2, that is 49. So, option 1 is correct. Now, let us see what is option B. The resulting mixture is neutralized by 1 mole of KOH. Now, finally, when the reaction is complete, we have 0 moles of this, 0 moles of this, and 1 mole of this. Now, this CaHPO4 is called an acidic salt because it still contains 1 replaceable hydrogen. And since we have 1 mole of CaHPO4 form, to further neutralize it, we need 1 mole of KOH, and therefore, second statement is also correct. Now, let us come to the third statement. 1 mole of H3PO4, and when it is completely neutralized, 1 mole means 3 equivalents, because during complete neutralization, all the 3 H plus has to be replaced, that is basicity during complete neutralization is 3, and number of equivalents for an acid we know is equal to number of moles into its basicity. So, 1 mole means 3 equivalents. So, 3 equivalents of calcium hydroxide is required. As we know, during complete neutralization, number of equivalents of acid must be equal to number of equivalents of base. Now, N factor of calcium hydroxide during its complete neutralization, now acidity of calcium hydroxide during its complete neutralization is of course equal to number of replaceable OH minus ion, which is 2 in this case, and therefore, number of moles of CaOH whole twice will be equal to 3 by 2, that is 1.5 moles, and therefore, third statement is also correct, and hence the fourth option, all of these is the right choice. So, correct answer is D. So, let us summarize what we discussed in this session. In this session, we basically solved some questions from mole concept and regarding concepts of moles and concepts of equivalence. We also solved questions which involved stoichiometric calculations. In the next session, we will continue with some more important problems from this session, and we will also take up questions from another important topic called atomic structure. So, thank you and goodbye.